Colonel Godoy, a former Guatemalan military officer, confessed to assisting the CJNG in trafficking cocaine from South America to the United States. According to court documents obtained by Insight Crime, Godoy played a crucial role in coordinating the transportation of cocaine from Colombia and Venezuela to Guatemala. His primary responsibility was serving as the transportation coordinator, facilitating the movement of cocaine through hidden airstrips. Leveraging his military credentials, Godoy managed to avoid interference from law enforcement, making him an invaluable asset to the drug trafficking operation. With his extensive knowledge of military operations, Godoy was instrumental in finding and securing safe landing spots for planes carrying cocaine. His role went beyond transportation coordination, as he ensured the smooth flow of illicit drugs from South America to Mexico for the CJNG. While utilizing hidden airstrips and avoiding law enforcement, Godoy demonstrated his expertise in evading detection. His involvement in the logistics and coordination aspects of the drug trafficking operation solidified his importance within the criminal network. In February 2018, authorities arrested Colonel Godoy during an anti-drug operation in Petén, Guatemala. However, the charges brought against him were surprising. Despite his involvement in a drug trafficking operation, Godoy faced charges of conspiracy to launder money rather than direct drug trafficking charges. The leniency of the charges and subsequent sentencing raised eyebrows and led to questions about the handling of drug-related cases involving military personnel in Guatemala. Critics argue that such leniency undermines the seriousness of the crimes committed and sends a message that individuals involved in drug trafficking can escape significant consequences. After spending 6 months in pre-trial detention, Godoy was sentenced to a mere 4-year commutable prison term and a fine of only 10,000 quetzal, which is equivalent to approximately $1,250. This light sentence further highlights the challenges in effectively prosecuting high-ranking military officials involved in drug-related crimes. Godoy's case sheds a light on the CJNG's growing influence and network expansion in Guatemala. It indicates that the CJNG is no longer solely reliant on Guatemalan drug trafficking groups to move cocaine through the country. Instead, they've established direct connections with individuals within the Guatemalan military. The willingness of the Guatemalan military to collaborate with the CJNG raises concerns about the extent of infiltration and corruption within the country's security forces. It suggests that criminal organizations have successfully exploited existing vulnerabilities within these institutions to further their illicit activities. The CJNG's ability to establish connections within the military provides them with crucial support and protection, enabling them to navigate the drug trade more efficiently and evade law enforcement efforts. This development poses significant challenges for both Guatemala and international efforts to combat drug trafficking and organized crime. Determining the CJNG's overall intentions in Guatemala is a challenging task. Alan Agiatas, a sub-director of the Guatemala Attorney General's Office's Anti-Narcotics Unit, acknowledges the difficulty in understanding the full scope of the CJNG's activities within the country. According to Agiatas, the CJNG has managed to establish connections that allow them to effectively traffic and transfer illicit goods in Guatemala. The exact nature of these connections and their implications remain a subject of ongoing investigation and concern for authorities. The collaboration between the CJNG and the Guatemalan military raises questions about the extent to which the CJNG has infiltrated various sectors of society and the potential ramifications for Guatemala's security and stability. It also underscores the need for enhanced intelligence gathering, coordination among law enforcement agencies, and efforts to root out corruption within the country. Understanding the CJNG's intentions and the depth of their involvement in Guatemala is crucial for devising effective strategies to counter their operations. Only through a comprehensive understanding of their network and activities can authorities hope to disrupt their illicit activities and safeguard the well-being of the population. It's important to note that the CJNG is not the only Mexican drug cartel with ties to the Guatemalan military. The well-established drug ring known as the Huistas, which has long-standing connections to Guatemala's political elites, has also been found to be a transportation partner for the CJNG. The Huistas, a prominent Guatemalan trafficking clan, has developed a well-established network and connections that extend into the country's political circles. These connections allow them to operate with relative impunity and secure protection from law enforcement and government officials. The collaboration between the Huistas and the CJNG indicates a worrisome trend of overlapping alliances between Guatemalan drug networks and Mexican cartels. It highlights the complex and interconnected nature of the drug trade, with different criminal organizations working together to maximize profits and expand their reach. The infiltration of Mexican drug cartels within the Guatemalan military is not a new phenomenon. In the late 2000s, the Zetas, another notorious Mexican criminal organization, targeted the Guatemalan military for recruitment purposes. They actively sought out ex-military personnel and established an extensive bribery system to gain police informants. The Zetas' strategy was twofold: to weaken and take control of Guatemalan trade networks and to expand their territorial influence beyond Mexico's borders. By enlisting ex-military personnel with their knowledge of tactics and access to weapons, the Zetas were able to assert dominance and establish a firm foothold in Guatemala. This historical infiltration underscores the systemic vulnerabilities within the Guatemalan military and law enforcement agencies. It highlights the need for comprehensive reforms, stringent vetting processes, and improved training to prevent criminal organizations from exploiting these institutions for their illicit activities. In addition to the Guatemalan military, the CJNG has found transportation partners in the well-established drug ring known as the Huistas. This criminal organization, with strong connections to the country's political elites, has a long-standing history of involvement in drug trafficking. The collaboration between the CJNG and the Huistas further expands the reach and capabilities of both groups. The Huistas have developed extensive networks that enable them to facilitate the transportation and distribution of drugs within Guatemala. Their established connections with political elites and local power structures provide them with a level of protection and influence that aids their criminal activities. The CJNG's partnership with the Huistas allows them to leverage these existing networks and benefit from their expertise in navigating the Guatemalan drug trade. The involvement of the Huistas in drug trafficking highlights the deep-rooted nature of organized crime in Guatemala. Their ability to maintain connections with political elites and operate with relative impunity underscores the challenges faced by law enforcement agencies in combating corruption and dismantling well-established criminal networks. The collaboration between the CJNG and the Huistas signifies the convergence of different criminal groups and their shared interests in profiting from the drug trade. This partnership not only strengthens the operational capabilities of both organizations but also presents a formidable challenge for authorities seeking to disrupt their activities. The Huistas' collaboration with the CJNG demonstrates the interconnectedness of drug trafficking networks and the need for comprehensive strategies to address organized crime. Efforts to dismantle these networks must involve not only targeting specific criminal organizations, but also addressing the underlying factors that enable their existence, such as corruption and socio-economic inequalities. Combating the collaboration between the CJNG and the Huistas requires a multifaceted approach that includes strengthening law enforcement capabilities, enhancing intelligence sharing and coordination, and implementing effective social and economic reforms. By addressing these underlying issues, authorities can disrupt the operations of criminal networks and work towards a safer and more secure Guatemala. The infiltration of Mexican criminal organizations into the Guatemalan military is not a new phenomenon. In the late 2000s, the notorious Zetas cartel recruited ex-military personnel as part of their strategy to expand their control over drug trafficking routes in Guatemala. This recruitment drive included establishing an extensive bribery system to gain police informants and expand their influence within the country. The Zetas' strategy of recruiting ex-military personnel allowed them to benefit from their specialized training of knowledge of military tactics. This gave them a significant advantage in their operations, enabling them to assert control over territories previously controlled by Guatemalan drug networks. The recruitment of ex-military personnel by the Zetas also highlighted the vulnerability of Guatemala's security forces to corruption and infiltration. The lure of financial incentives and the exploitation of systemic weaknesses within the military and law enforcement institutions created an environment conducive to the growth of organized crime. The Zetas' infiltration and recruitment efforts had a profound impact on the dynamics of drug trafficking in Guatemala. Their strategy disrupted existing drug networks and led to increased violence as they sought to establish dominance over territory. This period marked a significant shift in the country's drug trade landscape. The Zetas' recruitment of ex-military personnel and their establishment of a bribery system underscored the importance of addressing corruption within security forces and implementing robust mechanisms for vetting and monitoring personnel. These measures are crucial in preventing criminal organizations from exploiting vulnerabilities within the military and law enforcement institutions. Guatemala's experience with the Zetas serves as a cautionary tale and highlights the ongoing need for the comprehensive reforms to strengthen their integrity of security institutions. Efforts must be made to improve transparency, accountability and professionalism within the military and law enforcement agencies to prevent the infiltration of criminal elements. Additionally, addressing the underlying socio-economic factors that contribute to the recruitment of ex-military personnel by criminal organizations is crucial. Creating viable employment opportunities, providing adequate support for veterans, and promoting a culture of integrity within the military can help mitigate the risks of individuals turning to illicit activities. As we conclude this video, the case of Colonel Godoy exposes the dangerous intertwining of the Guatemalan military and Mexican drug cartels. The CJNG's ability to establish connections and operate with relative impunity is a cause for concern, necessitating robust measures to combat corruption and dismantle these criminal networks. We hope that this story serves as a wake-up call to the authorities and prompts action to root out corruption, enhance border security, and safeguard the well-being of both Guatemala and the United States. Thank you for watching this video. If you found the information intriguing, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more captivating content. Until next time, stay informed and stay safe.